Go! What's going on in Hot Atlanta? Live from Swanky 93.3 and the Heat 94.6 brings back the hottest hip-hop radio show live from K.L.P Entertainment and K.L.P Studios. Go! It's K.L.P Aftermath. Morning with your host, K.L.P Kennedy Lucas.
You know what it is? Put your hands up.
Tune in now on any audio platform. Go!
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. There it is. I had to figure out which button to press, T. Let me get that again. Yeah, buddy. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another exciting podcast here today. Boy, howdy, let me tell you something. We back officially with K.L.P Aftermath Podcast, new season, powered and presented by our Heart Media. And ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you guys something. I am very, very blessed to be back here. It is a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday, November 19th, ladies and gentlemen. Boy, howdy, next week we getting ready for Thanksgiving. We're going to be doing something special for Thanksgiving, possibly for podcasting, but I do want to thank everybody who tuned in to last week's episode. Let me tell you something. Last week's episode, as I fix my mic here, now we cooking with grits. Last week's episode was really, really, really good. I got to say thank you to a lot of people that stay tuned for the podcast last week. When it comes down to streaming and all the networks that you guys watch, a lot of people watch our content, and a lot of people were very, very happy to see me back within the set and studio to give you guys yet another exciting podcast. So I truly hope that everybody enjoy this one, this podcast, this new season, the fall season. It is here. I'm humbled with everything, with the lights, the cameras, the glitz, the glamour. T being one of our longtime producer for podcasting, it just reminded me something. As you guys know, I dabble into education, obviously, and somebody talked to me, or somebody noticed me on campus, and they said to me that they remember me from my podcasting days back in college, and I get very, very humble with that. I know it's something very, very, it's small to me, right? Because, who am I? I'm just a small time, well, big time, kind of, or I'll say medium, I'll say medium, right? There's bigger podcasters and bigger broadcasters on their network, but I get very, very humble when it comes down to it, simply because, it's one of those things that I really enjoy doing, podcasting. And when people realize that, they notice that you've done podcasting for a very, very long time, especially in your college years. Yes, I was the first really ever podcaster on my college campus. And to see that professionals recognized it, and shout out to, his name is Ben Hines. Shout out to Ben. So if you guys know, I'm a technician at GGC, apart with all the other ventures that I got going on. So there's a lot of things that I don't exploit to my tech job. Everybody knows that I've done podcasting. Everybody knows me around campus, obviously, as a podcaster and as a media person, but it's just one of those things that I get very, very excited about when people recognize that, hey, you used to do a podcast. And he was telling me, T, that, a lot of people, since I graduated and was no longer doing podcasting for, GGC, Ben Hines said that, there hasn't been anything like it since I left. And hopefully I'm not putting my foot in my mouth, because typically when people see that I've done podcasting stuff, they try to make it as another job of mine. I'll stick to the IT because I'm so endowed with the IT and the tech space right now. But it really, I don't know, it just really gets me excited, T. I really enjoy people recognizing and noticing me on campus, and a lot of students too. Believe it or not, students watch the show and they say, "Hey, you the guy that does podcasting." So it's just like, wow, I'm not famous, y'all. Like, I'm just an average guy, but it's just, I don't know. It really got to me. And this happened a couple of days ago, and I'm very, very happy about it. I tell to you guys in my audience that I thank you. And thank you everybody that tunes into the show. I really appreciate it. But I try not to hype myself up too much because again, I'm just your average Joe trying to pod and trying to do all these other things when it comes down to our shows. But I say that to say thank you to everybody that recognized the podcasting. And, Ben Hines was like, hey, you should bring it back. I'm like, hey, they ain't up to me. They ain't up to me. Look, do I know how to podcast? Absolutely. I could give them this, but they ain't up to me. That is a bigger conversation for bigger people that's higher up in this space. I will say to everybody out there, podcasting is not going anywhere. I just have to say that because a lot of people think that podcasting is going somewhere, like it's dying, right? I hear a lot of people say that podcast is dying. No one's really doing it anymore. That is so far from the truth, y'all. Podcasting is one of the things that's kind of going to be here to stay. And if you think about it now, everybody's a podcaster now, right? If you've got it to where people are even in their basements, right? Now we have a studio set here, but people are in their basements plugging up a mic and plugging up a camera and doing their reactions. You turn that into an audio and now you have a podcast version, right? So I do wish that it was more competitive like it was back in the day. I don't think podcasting is that competitive because everybody could do it. I do hope that we reach enough viewers so that way when Netflix and Spotify finalizes their partnership, I would love to be on that network for sure. It's just hard to us being an independent podcast show, it's hard for us to get to a bigger network like Netflix when it comes down to our podcasting stuff. So, but like I say to everybody that recognized me around town, thank y'all. I love you guys. The people who recognize the podcasting thing, I still do it. I love doing it. And I'm blessed to really, really do it for that as well. Speaking of another thing that I'm kind of blessed of, right? And I say kind of, but I'm really, really blessed about this next thing I'm going to say. Now, if you guys know, if you watched last week's episode or Monday's episode, and by the way, before we get to that, because a lot of people got confused about my upload schedule. So for this show, K.L.P Aftermath Podcast will be uploaded typically Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. That is the target 3 days that I'm going to be doing this podcast and to have it out. And I say Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to try my very, very best to stay super consistent. I think I kind of have a rhythm and flow of how I can have the podcast recorded, live, produced, script writing, edit, and everything. I think I've got kind of a system, a routine system to have the show out because a lot of people did ask, when will this show be going out? Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays for right now. I'll let you know if to our fan base, I will let you know if anything changes. If I skip a Wednesday because I had something else I have to do, you guys will be the first people to know about it. So, speaking of what's coming up next, I'm very, very blessed to talk about this next thing. One thing that I'm very, very proud of. This week, shout out to Change Church. You guys know, I've been going to church a whole heck of a lot, and Change Church is my church that I go to. Obviously, they have different locations, but I wanted to help spread the word for Wednesday, November 19th. And it's very interesting because November 19th, audience and tea, I tell y'all this, something else. It was very, very hot yesterday. I thought it was going to be winter time because we're getting ready for the fall winter season. It was like 70 some odd degrees yesterday. I wore a long sleeve shirt and some pants out in the office, and I was sweating because it was just so hot on campus. But on this very wonderful November 19th, I'm here to say that Change Church is, and I'm only here helping spreading the word. I'm partnered with them to help spread the word like anybody else would. I'm not exclusively partnered with Change Church when it comes down to this, but that is the church I go to. So, hey, if there's a word, there's something that's coming out that I want to talk about, I'm going to talk about it. So, Change Church has this wonderful, wonderful thing when it comes down to it. They're getting ready to have food donations, and I say food donations are getting ready to come out. We're having food donations available right now, so if you have it to where you have a chance to go out there and to donate food for a great cause, it really, really creates wonders. As you guys know, the government's back open, but we had the government shut down, and when the government was shut down, the SNAP benefits were on pause, right? Me and Evelyn talked about it on our show, What Had Happened Was podcast. New episode coming this week, by the way. But we are Change Church is getting ready. They have this segment called Change Cares, and I say to a lot of people, it really does make a difference. Now, what Change Care is a program. A program from Change Church to where they're getting ready to collect. They're collecting food donations today as we speak, where you can go to the grocery store. You can donate food to the food drive at all the locations. We're talking Jersey, Gwinnett, DeKalb, globally you can do it. And on November 22nd at all locations they're going to be doing the global worldwide food drive. So essentially what it does, if you're in DeKalb, I personally will be at the Gwinnett locations, but if you're at DeKalb, Jersey, November 22nd, you can pull up if you are in need. Sign up for the food drive. You can pull up, and I will be one of those people that load the groceries into your trunk, and you can just go and then be on your merry way. Very, very excited for that. November 22nd, I'm going to be at the Gwinnett location myself, but you can volunteer. I'm pretty sure that they're still waiting on donations. They still have donations open. I think they're still looking for volunteers as well as we speak. So huge shout out to them. I love Change Church. Shout out to PD, Pastor Daniels, and Shamika Daniels, the Daniels family. It is one of those things that I just love doing, and it's just I dabble into it. So that's the one thing that is out right now, available for you guys as well. Now let's get into the topics of conversation. We've got quite a few topics of conversations here today, and obviously I'm going to do Kennedy's Corner when it comes down to a sports topic, and I have an interesting topic for later on in this episode, because this trending topic has been going viral on TikTok. But I wanted to talk about it before we get to, because I do want to talk about WWE. I really do want to talk about it. But this other thing that's been trending, and I got to shame Apple for this one, right? Now, Apple knows what they're doing. And let me tell you something. If you are one of these people that goes out and buy this product, you got to be a damn fool. A damn fool. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Apple has introduced, and this was a couple of days ago, so I'm late to the party, but Apple has introduced, T, you ready for it? Because I see you smirking. You ready for it? The iPhone Pocket. And this is what Apple says: a beautiful way to wear and carry your iPhone. Look, let me tell you something. Apple, you got to be a damn fool. And let me tell you, people are buying this product, T. People have gone out and bought this product. I'm sure Apple is going to go to some big celebrity and say, hey, we want to pay you $2 million to wrap one of our pockets, right? Because Apple, let me tell you, got Apple products here in the studio. I'm Team Apple when it comes down to their computers, their studios, and even the iPhone, right? I'm Team Apple. But obviously, this is going to be a thing that I'm definitely going to skip out on. But Apple has the marketing dollars to where they're going to pay a celebrity, a big celebrity, $2 million, maybe not the $2 million, I don't know, I'm just speculating, $2 million to say how good this product is, to get people more enticed to buy this product, right? Easy Mayiki and Apple, they're partnered up. That's the company that's making the sock. I'm sorry, guys. This looks like a sock. It looks like a knitted sock that both my grandmas, if they were still with us, they could knit this in 30 minutes and say, here you go, sweetie pie. That's one of my grandmas. She called me sweetie pie. There you go, sweetie pie. I've created you a pocket for your phone. That's what this looks like. Look, I think this is an accessory piece. And look, Apple's smart. Apple's very, very smart, because they come in some crazy good colors. I will give them that, right? That orange looks nice. That navy blue looks nice. Even the black and brown looks nice. So they come in all variety ranges of colors, right? Symbolizing the colors of the iPhone. So, of course, you want to rep the color that you have your iPhone. Like I have the... my iPhone's like the titanium color, so I will rock the brown or the black one, right? So Apple, from that marketing standpoint, it makes sense. But honestly, this looks like a sock for your iPhone. There's nothing wrong with carrying your phone in your wallet. For your fellas and for my ladies, put your phone in your purse, right? I just don't see this. I just don't see it. And Apple could have made this thing hit because if it was priced well. Let me tell you something. They made a shorter version, a short strap version of the iPhone Pocket for $149.95. And then you got a longer strap for $230, Apple. Have you lost your mind? Have you lost your mind? Look. Apple's done some crazy things in their day, right? There's some crazy things. I think the strap is crazy. I gotta say the Apple Vision Pro is crazy because that's a $4,000 piece of VR technology. Honestly, you might as well just settle for the Meta Quest 3 for $300. The iPhone Thin or the iPhone Air is kind of a crazy thing because you're limited to the specs and then you only got one camera when it comes down to that. I think this is ludicrous. I really, really do think this is ludicrous. I read some news, in audience, that Tim Cook is potentially stepping down as CEO of Apple next year. And there's no hate on Tim Cook because he's visionary, right? He's made some great products, right? I think he's just stepping down because he's getting a little bit older. He's getting a little bit more wore out. He wants to do something else. I get it. But damn, Tim Cook, this is the dumbest thing that you've approved, I've got to say, as an Apple fan, because look, Apple, if they price this sock, and I'm sorry, Mayuki, I get you're a business, but if you price this sock for $10, you probably would have sold out on this piece of technology. It's not even technology. This piece of fabric, if it was $5 to $10, I think people would have bought it for $10, right? But for $230 just to put your phone in a sock, you got to be out your damn mind. For that price, you might as well get the new version of the Air Pods. Hell, you can even put some of the money down for a new iPhone if you're going to spend that amount of money. I'm sure a lot of these third-party companies are going to find ways to not get sued by Apple because, this is Apple's patented product. But I'm sure a lot of third-party companies are going to make something way cheaper than this. I'm sure Temu might make something for this. I'll even go in further and say TikTok might make something just like this Apple iPhone Pocket for $10. I don't see it. I see a lot of influencers buying this because Apple told them to, or they're sending it out for free. And it's for clickbait. So it's going to happen where people are going to buy this product. I got to say, you're a damn fool if you are buying this product, honestly. I don't see the appeal. Obviously, I'm not going to be shelling out over $200 for this fabric, this pocket, this sock to put my iPhone in where I can just put my phone in my pocket like a normal person. I don't get it. I don't get the appeal. But like I say, Apple airheads, they'll say, hey, take my money, Apple. And the funny thing is, when people are buying this thing, Apple is going to be laughing in your face straight to the bank. That's what I think is going to happen. Man, shout out to Apple, man. Y'all done some dumb shit lately, but this tops dumb shit. It really, really does. Speaking of, I can't say this is dumb shit, this part I'm very, very excited for, and I'm going to do an in-depth talk about sports-related news in Kennedy's Corner, right? But I wanted to come on camera to talk about WWE. Obviously, I'm a fan of WWE. I was able to catch WWE Monday Night Raw Monday night. Clips of Monday Night Raw Monday. Obviously, I got in from the office late. I had an hour to watch this thing, and then I was getting tired. But John Cena made his final debut at the Madison Square Garden. Obviously, they were in New York on Monday. A lot of great surprises from WWE lately. Of course, last week we had Zack Ryder, Matt Cardona. He's coming back as Zack Ryder, that gimmick. Very, very good because Zack Ryder has gotten a pop. I am very, very happy about Maxine Dupree. She is now your new Women's Intercontinental Champion. Let me tell you something. I was very skeptical about Maxine Dupree. I just didn't think she wasn't talented at first, but now she's getting her sea legs. Now she's getting into the moment to where she's really becoming a great performer. I think she has a long way to go. I think she has more training to do, but I'm very, very excited when it comes down to her winning a championship belt. I'm just going to say it because no one else will say it. I'm very, very proud of Maxine Dupree because her character, she sells her character, and she's hot. I'm not trying to be sexist, not trying to be dehumanizing the women, right? That's not what I'm trying to do. But Maxine Dupree's hot. So that looks, it's like Maxine Dupree, before she got good, I felt like she could have been in the Divas era, right? Thank God I don't work for WWE because I would have been fired if I would have said that word. But she would have been a good diva, right? I'm really, really glad that she's getting her sea legs. I'm really, really glad that she's getting airtime. And I'm really, really glad that she's able to now become Women's Intercontinental Champion. We'll see how far that goes. And another great surprise, Brock Lesnar makes his return. They're really selling it up for Survivor Series next week, I want to say, T. So very, very good. We have Roman Reigns return. Cody Rhodes was there. And guess who we also returned that I never thought was going to be returned? And let me tell you, Triple H, he's been rocky lately. He's been on everybody's shit list lately when it comes down to booking. But Dolph Ziggler, Nick Nemeth, returns to WWE as Dolph Ziggler. Again, rooting back to the gimmicks, but I think this is going to work. Triple H is taking us back to 2010, 2011 era. And I think it's going to work. I really do think that this thing is going to work when it comes down to Dolph Ziggler, Zack Ryder, for John Cena's last tournament tour. I hope, as I said this on Monday's episode, I do want to see Chris Jericho and Edge come back, right? That's really the 2010-2009 era. If those two superstars come back. Obviously, AEW's contract, some of these superstars, their contracts is up. They're not able to honor the millions that WWE can offer. Obviously, Dolph Ziggler is making his return. I'm very, very excited for that because when he returned on Monday, he had a big pop. And it's scary when you leave the company and then come back to the company and you want to say, okay, are you as good as we remember? Are you going to have a big pop, or is going to be a snooze fest? I don't think Zack Ryder and Dolph Ziggler is going to be a snooze fest. I think they're going to be very, very fantastic at what they do. It's good to see Dolph Ziggler back. I think besides his character, Nick Nemeth, he's a really good wrestler, right? Not from the Spirit Squad way back when. He's a good wrestler. So I'm glad to see that return for Dolph Ziggler. I just hope they use him. I hope, and I'm sure this is not a one-off with him as well. So I'm very, very, very humbled. I'm blessed and highly favored to see that as well. But shout out to WWE. I think they might have a chance to get out of that low rating, because the last few weeks WWE's been having some low ratings lately, so we'll wait to see. But it's good to see John Cena again, new Intercontinental Champion. I think he's gonna be inducted to the Hall of Fame. I think that's gonna be announced at his last match on December 13th. I think Triple H is gonna come out and say, "Hey, John, you are the headliner for Hall of Fame 2026." So shout out. We were here for it. Now, I'm going to take a quick break away from camera. I need to talk more about sports while we're on the sports gamut, T. So let's get into the sports.
Franz Wagner had the ball in his hands and his eyes locked on Paulo Banchero. After blowing a 13-point fourth quarter lead to the Portland Trail Blazers on November 10, the Orlando Magic somehow had a chance to turn a collapse into victory. But Banchero was covered, so Wagner turned his head and found an option who wasn't there a season ago. Desmond Bane came off a screen and buried a twisting, fall-away winning three-pointer over Toumani Kamara's outstretched hand at the horn. Bane's first career buzzer beater stunned the Blazers. It just might have jump-started the Magic's season, Banchero lifted the guard into the air. Magic players sprinted from the bench and mobbed Bane as if the guard had just hit a winner in the NBA Finals. It felt like a turning point. It just can ignite us, Banchero said. This shot, this moment, is why the Magic traded 4 unprotected first-round picks, a first-round pick swap, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and Cole Anthony to pry the coveted 27-year-old shooter from the Memphis Grizzlies last summer. After consecutive first-round exits in an injury-plagued season for the Magic, the front office pushed its chips in to go for it in an open Eastern Conference, carrying expectations to get to the second round or better for the first time since 2011. Orlando's 1-4 start put pressure on head coach Jamal Mosley, his staff, and the players to make it work. Frustration was palpable after a stinging 111-107 loss to the Boston Celtics on November 9th that dropped the Magic to 4-6. But sitting underneath one of the Magic's practice court baskets recently, Bane was relaxed, even saying he predicted a rocky start to president of basketball operations, Jeff Weltman. It's so new, I think everybody's searching, Bane told ESPN. We didn't get off to the start we wanted. I don't think it's anything to panic about. I've been here before with slow shooting starts. It's starting the season off like this, so it's a hot topic. The Magic haven't had a shooter and scorer like Bane, who averaged 19 points and shot 39% from 3 with Memphis last season. In recent years, no Magic guard or forward has averaged numbers like that. Since Haido Turkoglu in 2007 to 2008, in dire need of more playmaking experience and a third scoring option who fits their defensive bully identity, Orlando, 7-7, is banking on Bane to take Banchero and Wagner to the next level, unlocking their rising games and forming a young trio that will be in their prime and contend in the East for years. We paid a heavy price, Weltman told ESPN. There's one pick that we don't have control over, but the rest we have control over. And Dez entering his prime and a lot of our key young players under contract, Brummer, we're not looking at this as one season. Obviously, we gave up a lot because he's a highly talented player who fits our roster very well, and we're betting on ourselves. Despite starting the season shooting 26% from beyond the arc before drilling the Portland dagger, Bane's buzzer beater has busted his slump as he has hit 8 for 20 from deep. Since meanwhile, Orlando has won 6 of its past 9 games. The team had a 3-game winning streak snapped in a 117-113 overtime loss to the Houston Rockets on Sunday, despite 29 and 26 points from Wagner and Bane, respectively, with Banchero and Jalen Suggs out because of groin injuries. The team is finding its rhythm, sparked by the missing component the Magic believe will help Banchero and Wagner win a championship. He's already unlocked things, Banchero told ESPN, of Bane's impact on him and Wagner. When we put him in positions to make the defense make a decision, obviously spacing, that's something that we've struggled with in the past. Defenders don't want to leave him. His playmaking on offense too. And then he's just a dog. He's not scared. He's not backing down from anybody. It's only going to get better. It's still early. It's going to only be up from here. Inside the Magic's Advent Health Training Center, players were snapping at each other and tempers flared during a highly competitive and physical training camp scrimmage set up by Mosley in the middle of Orlando's undefeated preseason. I wouldn't say I started it, Banchero said, but I was in there a little bit. It was just a competitive thing, nothing personal, I would say, but it definitely was heated. Wagner and Banchero remember the Magic having other practice arguments in the past, but this contentious scrimmage stood out because of how it ended, with the temperature still boiling. Bane and Tyus Jones, teammates for 3 seasons in Memphis, gathered everyone together for a huddle. It was one of the first moments of the season when Bane's voice as a leader stood out. "This is going to be us," Suggs told ESPN of what Bane said. "This is what we're doing now. It has to be us throughout the year. You can't pick and choose days when to be dogs, you're a dog every day or you're not." Yes, that is the latest in sports news, ladies and gentlemen. Kennedy's Corner. We hope that y'all like that part of the show. 2 more topics here on the podcast before we wrap up. And I'm very, very excited for this because Jeff Keighley is back, of course. The Game Awards. Hold on. Let's get, 23 days.
Well, 22 if you're watching. 22 days until the live show. The Game Awards, December 11th. They're going to be at the Peacock Theater in Los Angeles. Ladies and gentlemen, you guys know how I do it. I don't know when it comes down to my tech schedule or the podcast schedule. Last year, I streamed the whole award show and I commentated over it, right? Even last year, we did the Podcadia World Series when it was during the summertime, and we had a lot of gaming conferences, and I, did my thing. That was last year. This past year, 2025, I didn't do Podcadia World Series because I got wrapped up. I got too busy. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do the live reaction of the Game Awards like I did last year. So I apologize for that. I really do apologize for not being able to do my thing when it comes down to it as well. But I am very, very excited. Now, the nominees are out for sure. And I'm going to skim. Now, what I will do is I'm going to vote right here live. I won't really show my screen because we didn't set it up like that. I'm going rather quick because within our podcast here today, I want to make sure that we're not over 30 minutes of the show. But things are changed. Things have changed. Let's see real quick if it's going to allow me to vote real quick. Come on now. Trying to see here. Will it allow me to vote? This is what we do when we're not prepared. I'm not blaming T. I'm not blaming my producers here in the studio. I'm blaming myself because I didn't come prepared. Let me see if it's going to allow. Yep. K.L.P Entertainment is going to allow us to vote. Let's see. Are you going to allow us to vote? Okay, so I think the voting button's not working here for sure. So what I'll do is I'll save my voting until next episode. Friday's episode is when I'm going to officially vote because for some reason it's not letting me vote here. And I'm not sure if their website is up because it's not letting me click any categories as well. Yep. It's giving me a rainbow wheel, I think. Hold on. All right, so we're going to bypass that one, T. Let's see, the Game Awards nominee. So for this episode, I'm going to read the nominees because it won't let me. Oh, well, never mind. I don't know. Okay, now it looks like it's going to let me vote. I don't know. So 29 categories. Again, I'm going to skim through this stuff because, again, it's 29 categories. Again, I got to have this podcast at a certain time. So the Game of the Year, recognize the game for delivering the absolute best experience across all creatives. I won't read that because everybody knows the Game Awards. We know what this looks like. So here are the nominees. Of course, you got Claire Obscure, Exhibition 33, Death Stranding 2 on the Beach, Donkey Kong Bonanza, Hades 2, Hollow Knight, Silksong, and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Obviously, Donkey Kong has my vote. I think Donkey Kong is the best game this year that we've received. I still haven't beat Donkey Kong Bonanza because it's just that big of it's a huge game. So I haven't beat it, but I think it deserves Game of the Year award. I really do think it deserves Game of the Year for me and my vote. The new era of Donkey Kong, the new era of getting Donkey Kong in 3D. That's a long way to game. Best game direction, of course, you've got Exhibition 33, Death Stranding 2, Ghost of Yote, Hades 2, and Split Fiction. Man, this is hard because Split Fiction was really, really good, but I really like Ghost of Yote as well. Very, very hard when it comes down to that. It's very, very hard, T. I don't know. I think I want to give. I got to give Ghost of Yote my best game direction. Sorry, I love Ghost of Yote. I love Ghost of Tsushima, so Ghost of Yote has to have my vote as well. And we're gonna see how much we can do. I think their website. I think because everybody's voting right now, because the website's moving really, 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 really slow. Yep, really, really slow. All right, let me revert back to the first plan. Let's read all the nominations, and then I guess I'll have to do this as a. Oh, okay. There. Oh, now I'm back to square one. All right. So what we're gonna bypass all of that again. I kind of already voted, but I think Donkey Kong deserves my Game of the Year vote. Best game direction, Ghost of Yotei might get my vote. Best adaptation, the Minecraft movie, Devil May Cry, Last of Us Season 2, Splinter Cell, Death Watch, and Until Dawn. I'm kind of sad that Sonic 3 wasn't in this nomination. I think that would have been a best option for best adaptation for video game. But I think I want to give my vote on that one for Splinter Cell Death Watch because I watched that first season and I podcasted about it and reviewed it. So I just think that show is really, really good from the Splinter Cell franchise. Now, Ubisoft, if you win this for Splinter Cell, I think it's time for you to make a new Splinter Cell video game. Is what I think. Best art direction, you got Death Stranding 2, Ghost of Yotei, Hades 2, Hollow Knight, Exhibition 33, and Ghost of Yotei. Ghost of Yotei gets my vote on that one as well. Best score in music, Ghost of Yotei, Death Stranding 2, Exhibition 33, Hades 2, Hollow Knight, Silksong. I think Hollow Knight Silksong might win that one because it's in the title. The song is in the title, and it's very kind of a melodic type of game. So very, very good when it comes down to it. Best audio direction, design, Battlefield 6, Exhibition 33, Death Stranding 2, Ghost of Yotei, and Silent Hill 4. I haven't played most of these for best audio design. But I think Death Stranding 2 might win for best audio design because Hideo Kojima does really, really good when it comes down to video game designs or audio designs when it comes down to all of his video games. Very, very exciting. Again, I'm scrolling through here. I won't go so much in detail for all of these games here. My take on the best family game, that's probably going to go to Mario Kart World. Or, actually, hold on. Or Sonic Racing Cross Worlds might win that one, too. I think Mario Kart might get that one. But best sports racing game, Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. They're going to get that one. Because that one outbeat Mario Kart World, in my opinion. I think it's going to be to the point where that's going to be really good. Most anticipated video game, you have Marvel's Wolverine, GTA 6, Resident Evil Requiem, 007 First Light. I think Marvel's Wolverine might get this one because GTA 6, they kind of shot themselves in the foot with all these delays, and it got delayed again from now May to now November. So I think they kind of shit the bed when it came down to that. So Marvel's Wolverine, that's my most highly anticipated game from this list as well. So very, very excited for the Game Awards. Again, like I said, I won't go through all of these. And then I tried to vote here on the podcast, but the website's really, really slow and we don't have that kind of time. So shout out to the Game Awards. Shout out to Jeff Keighley. Now, one more topic. I'm happy about this one because this is the one thing that's been going viral on Instagram and TikTok. Now, if you guys know, you know, I talk about my relationships and whatnot. I do. I'm guilty. Guilty as charged. But I've been seeing a lot of people on TikTok in particular. They gave, I want to say, their top 5 lists of non-sexual things, non-sexual silent things that people do that is most attractive to you. And I thought it was very fitting to do this because I am attracted to people also when it's non-sexual, obviously, and I will show you guys. I have 2 I call them Jesus pieces, but 2 crosses. I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up. When I say I've been going to church, I've been going heavy. At the church, I'm a man of God. And in my readings, it's important to not give in to temptation. It's important to not give in to lust. Sadly, we see that kind of thing a lot on social media. I see it on Instagram. I see it on TikTok. And I'm learning to kind of fade away from lust and temptation. I got to say it's hard because I am a guy, right? I'm a heterosexual guy that gets attracted when I see things like that. I like what I like, right? But I'm learning now to not attract too much of lust and temptation whether it's self-pleasure or things like that. I'm learning that it's hard because, again, I'm a growing man. So the natural response is that, yes. But I also attract my ladies when it's non-sexual. I think, again, I've been going to church a lot. I think my person, my better half, my helpmate, she's gonna be a woman of God. I don't see myself going for these little fast girls. I don't. Now, obviously, people joke with me when I talk kind of old and got an old soul. I do have an old soul. Guys, I'm only 29. I'll be 30 in May, right? But I attract maturity. I attract my woman of God, my peace, my prosperity, my helpmate, my girl that gets me smiling every day. That's really my attraction. So I'm going to list you guys my 5 non-sexual things from my ladies that are very, very attractive to me. The first non-sexual attraction thing from a girl that I like is that she's very smart. I love my smart women. I love them. I love it that, because I met girls who were smart that pick my brain, make me think about some shit, pick my brain, whether it's a business thing, personal, intellectual, emotional, and mental. Pick my brain. Get my gears turning. That's the one thing that attracts me the most. If you're able to do those kind of things, I'm for it. I'm here for it. I love it. The number 2 thing that's non-sexual, baby, you got to be fit. Duh. Everybody knows I work out and go to the gym. You got to be fit. You've got to, and I'm not saying you got to be skinny, mini, right? Because I've met some girls who are in that nice, right thick, right? You got to be healthy. You gotta eat right. You gotta make sure that what you putting in is what you getting out health wise. It has to be very, very good. It has to be nutritious. You have to be able to work out and not get tired from just one pull-up bar. I really like it when girls, let me tell you something. This is non-sexual. I really like it where girls, and hopefully this is non-sexual, girls in their gym fit. Ooh, let me tell you. Hopefully it's not sexual, but their gym fit says a lot, right? I like girls who have the nice little 2-piece on, slim, and it works. And she's making the fit work for her. I love that. Now let me tell you something. There is this one girl. Oh Lord, Kenny's talking about a girl at the gym again. No, it's not the one girl that I've met and followed her on Instagram. That was a big no. Not her. It's a different girl this time. I'm over that other girl. This girl, I don't think, look, after learning my lesson from the last girl, to never approach women in the gym anymore, right? Or to never follow them out of the blue because they might freak out. Luckily, the girl that I mentioned before, she didn't freak out, but I'm not going to do that again. This girl, and I'm a little nervous to approach her because, again, guys, we all know you got to be careful with these approaching women in the gym. I'm part of that scared culture, right? But this girl, I've noticed lately. She got the nice little 2-piece on, and I don't stare at her in a creepy way. I just notice, right? Obviously, you can notice people. 2-piece on. She comes in with the long hair, nice, beautiful silk black hair, but she puts it up in a ponytail when she's ready to work out. Let me tell you something. She's confident. She's confident. I like that. And it's non-sexual. If you are confident in the gym and you know exactly what you're doing in the gym, that attracts me the most. It's non-sexual. I just know that if you are confident and you keep your body up and you keep yourself healthy, you are the one for me, right? That is number 2 of my non-sexual things that attract me. Another non-sexual thing that attracts me is this. Not every girl wears glasses. I will say that. But if a girl is wearing glasses, it kind of goes for number 1 about being smart. Again, kind of, because a girl could be dumb as rocks and need glasses, right? I'm not saying all girls are dumb. That's not what I'm saying. Some girls could be dumb, but then they rock glasses, right? But if you smart and you wear glasses, It's not sexual. But boy, howdy. Yeah, boy, howdy. Let me tell you something. I love my glasses. Now, I'm learning to take a break from my glasses a lot because, my eyesight, again, guys, I work in tech, so I'm looking at computer screens and monitors and cameras and all these type of technology things, so I have to take a break from my glasses. But if you are rocking glasses, you are the one for me, right? Again, if you don't rock glasses, it's okay. You don't need them. Great for you. But some of the girlfriends that I've met, they rock some glasses or two. Number 4, and this might be a hot take for my fellas. A non-sexual thing that attracts me the most is a girl, and this kind of goes in about being confident, but to not always wear makeup. Ladies, I don't care about your makeup. Now, if we're out at a function, yeah, put some makeup on. You want to look good if you're out at a function, right? If we're going on a date, sure, put some makeup on. You want to look good out. But, baby, if you in the house, take that shit off. Baby, if you at the gym and because let me tell you, that's one thing I can't stand. Ladies with full cakes of makeup in the gym, I can't stand it. The last girl that I got on Instagram, sometimes she cake up her makeup, and I'm glad I broke that shit off. Take that off. Take it off. Take the makeup off in the gym. I do not care what your makeup look like. I want to see what your face looks like. Right? If we in the gym, we at home chilling, or we just out grocery shopping, I really ain't out like that. I got nothing. I of course showered, but I'm not shaved. I got some sweats on because we just out running errands. Baby, take that shit off. Take the makeup off. I don't care. I love you without it. If you have it, great. I love it when you have makeup on because it makes you. But hey, if we just out just chilling, take it off. Take it off. That is the one thing that I find very, very, very attractive. The next thing, I might give y'all 6. The next thing, my woman that's very attractive to me, who is good, who's good in the kitchen. And I don't mean that in a sexist way, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, if you know how to cook. I'm not saying, hey, cook my meal every day. That's not what I'm saying. But if you know how to cook, that says a lot that you've matured and you know how to take care of yourself and you know how to think on your feet. To me, right? If you know how to throw down in the kitchen. Not saying that women belong in the kitchen. That's so not what I'm saying. But if you know how to cook, because you'd be surprised, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of these ladies out here do not know how to cook. And that's a big no-no for me because I love to cook. Now, obviously, this is hopefully they sponsor us. I've been using Factor because I've been needing meal prep because I'm just so busy. But on weekends, I throw down in the kitchen, right? If you know how to throw down in the kitchen, very, very, very attractive to me. Let me give y'all one more just for shits and giggles. Number 6, and this is kind of a materialistic thing. If you keep yourself up. This is materialistic, and I'm not saying that you have to have the newest, flyest thing, right? I don't have the newest, flyest thing, but I've met women previously, too, who is an avid shoe collector, right? My girl who have a big collection in shoes and who is very enthusiastic in shoes. If you guys don't know, I probably won't share it on social media because that's personal, but I do have a gigantic shoe collection, and it's not a flex, guys, but if you are a shoe collector, and you keep your shoes tidy. If you live in a house or an apartment, I don't judge. I lived in both. You keep yourself clean. Keep your shoes clean. Keep your house clean. And keep your car clean. Let me tell you something about my car. I'm wiping my car down almost every day. If you keep your car clean, it says a lot about your character. Whether it's washed from the interior to the exterior, you're wiping it down, keeping your personal stuff clean, right? Your shoes, your house or apartment, your car, your body, your clothes, shirts, pants, undergarments, underwear, panties. Keep them shits clean. Socks. If you are a clean person. I think the last part might have been sexual when I talked about underwear, but sorry. keeping yourself up, your hygiene is clean. You smell like that warm, hot cocoa butter. That part might be sexual. I'm sorry. But if you smell good and you walk by me and I'm like, damn, baby, what you got on? Like you make me want to, that is very, very attractive to me. I'm not so much materialistic. When I mention the car, you can have a 2026 car. You could have a 2002 car, as long as it's clean. I don't judge. If you live in an apartment, I don't judge. I lived in an apartment too. Long as it's clean. You're not a pack rat. You're not a hoarder. You're not disgusting, right? Those are the things that are very, very non-sexual things that are very, very attractive to me. There's quite a few more things that attract me the most, but I thought I wanted to do the trend because that's one of the things that the trend has been going viral on social media. So I thought that I would give y'all that as well. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to wrap up here on our podcast here today. A little long one, but it's okay. We hope that you guys enjoy Wednesday's episode for K.L.P Aftermath Podcast live from the studio here in Atlanta. I want to thank everybody who's just been staying tuned for our podcast in general. We love you guys so very much, and I am so thankful for the fan base that, you guys are watching the content, you're enjoying the show, and it's only going to go up from here. So I'm very, very humble for the next episode. New episode of What Happened Was podcast. By the way, me and Evelyn, we're going to be coming back with a new episode this week, so stay tuned for that. That's going to be a slobber knocker of a podcast for sure. Boy, howdy, we got a lot of things coming. Again, ladies and gentlemen, as I say to everybody, stay safe, stay swanky, I want to say stay cool, but it's been hot lately, so stay warm, I guess. We love you guys, and we'll catch y'all in the next podcast episode. Until then, I've been your host, K.L.P Kennedy Lucas. So long. Peace. Yeah.